What's good, Stephen? Nice to talk to you. Nice to see you. I'm an artist, as you know, producer, as you know, musician, kind of, as you know, photographer, filmmaker, and this is Ether Decor. Where am I from? I'm from Los Angeles, mostly. I was born in South Central and moved around a lot as a kid. I lived in Inglewood for a bit, lived in Moreno Valley for a year. Really moved all over the place, but mostly South Central growing up. I mean, living in like South Central and like going to school in like West LA and seeing all these like rich kids and like the different like cultures mixing and stuff, but also like how divided these cultures are and stuff really informed my art, really informed a lot of like my perspective on LA. You know, I'm not really pigeonholed to like one like perspective really. A lot of the stuff I want to put into the world like really reflects like where I'm from, and also just like the differences of where I'm from, how we're here, how we got to this point culturally, like redlining. I want to talk a lot about gentrification of my art. I want to talk about a lot about, you know, culture vulturing and all of that stuff. Like that's a lot of stuff that's very passionate and serious to me. It's not stuff that I've like really delved into yet with my art, but it's stuff that like, you know, when I'm like really like deep in my thoughts about like what I want to talk about and what I want to make and what I'm interested in, is definitely that type of shit. It's definitely that type of like aura, you know. What inspires me to make art is a hard ass question. When it comes to photographers, there's certain artists I'm like, fuck, like I really love, like Gordon Parks. I really love a lot of modern artists, photographers like Jack Bridgeland for their studio work. I'm, you know, big into Nadam Kadag. I'm really deep into like, you know, Albert Watson for like just the way he lights stuff. I pick and choose, you know, like Albert Watson, like I choose his lighting is really like specific to what I like to do in the studio. You know, with Gordon Parks, like his subject matter and the way he depicts America and the way he depicts like just culture and stuff, I think is just really poignant. You know, Nadav Kander, yet again, like really like insane fucking lighting, insane printing techniques. Like I'm a big fan of like just different, pulling from different places, and that's what inspires me. That's how I can like take my inspirations and kind of combine them in a way. And you know, that even like extends to like to film too. With film, like I really like to pull from various different like places. A lot of times, like a lot of my inspo with film are like from books, are from photos, are from like fucking music videos. I don't even really pull that much inspo from actual movies like that anymore. You know, I went to high school for film actually, and like, you know, I liked making films, but I think I learned like I can use film in more ways than just like making like basic movies you see in a movie theater. You know, there's different ways you can like interpret shit, different ways you can make shit. And also like I think I took a break from film for a while because of school, because of that high school, and that led me to discover other things like photography and like music, you know, because, you know, going into music, like when I produce, and again, it's like I'm pulling from different places. Working on this album with Lance, like I really pull like a lot from like, you know, Yves Tumor and like random artists from like the 70s, like Bowie and Genesis and Pink Floyd and King Crimson, you know, just random places, like combining all these elements and subject matters into one, like and trying to figure out how like that all mixes together. I think that's really interesting. And yet again, that like goes back to the point of like culturally, you know, I'm from all over LA. I've seen all over LA. I've seen the different cultures. I've seen the way they mix and also the way they don't. And I feel like that idea of like taking different things that shouldn't mix and kind of combining them into one is kind of what inspires me and like where I get my inspiration. You know, as an interdisciplinary artist, like what that means to me is like, how do I find inspirations from photography and from music and from film and have them all coexist into like one space, you know what I mean? And like all into one piece even. Because like going back to the album, when I was making that, like there was a lot of inspiration from different places and different artists when it came to music videos. There's a lot of inspiration from different artists when it came to the cover arts. And there's a lot of inspiration from different artists when it came to the music. And it was really just kind of figuring out how to like make them all coexist with each other and make them all work into one theme, into one universe. It's really all about world building. When it comes to interdisciplinary stuff, it's really saying, what is my like identity as a person, as an artist outside of the art? Who do I fuck with? What like is my bubble? What is the stuff that I curate from my personal life? And how do I bring that to my art? And then when you do that, everything, whether it be music, film, photography, sculpture, whatever you do, like people know it's you. People know it's your work, you know. Even if like it's a different medium, they know because it has your soul and your imprint, and all of your inspirations are in that stuff. So I think that's like what's really beautiful about interdisciplinary art. Yet again, being able to like have like a video playing with your own music over it, or a photography
Hey,
piece.
guys, I only got 3 left. AirPods, man. I got the real deals. For your iPhone. Anybody need? Sure, for this price? Anybody?
Anyways, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, like interdisciplinary, yeah, thank you. Interdisciplinary art, like, you know, it's really important to be able to like have like a piece that's like maybe 2-3 different mediums. Like let's say like you have a sculpture and you have music over it. Those are 2 different mediums, and because you're the one person doing it, and because you have an identity outside of that art, you're able to put that back into the art. And when you have that showing, everyone can say, oh yeah, I can tell what he's trying to say. I can tell what he's trying to go for. I can tell what this is about. You know what I mean? So with photography, like specifically how I got into it was like, there was like years ago, and I had no like real intention of getting into photography ever. It was like my last year of high school. I was just finishing up, and like I had always like really wanted to do like an art collective. And me and my best friends at the time, Tony, Declan, Avo, you know, they're still my homies to this day. Like we like made this little art collective called Bedlam. We had made like a magazine for it. I was super passionate about it. I was like super like, I want to make this a thing. Like I became like low-key like editor-in-chief for a while on that shit. And there became a point where like, you know, school and life happened and everyone else kind of like started to like be busy with other shit. And I was like, okay, no, we got to keep this shit going. I was like, I don't know how to take photos and shit, but I have ideas and I want to shoot them. And y'all have a studio and y'all have cameras. I'm gonna use them, I'm gonna shoot them. I just started kind of like casually shooting out of like necessity. And then I realized I was like, damn, I'm kind of like not bad at this shit. I think that's really where like the inspiration shit started coming from, because really like when I started photography, it was more idea based. I have ideas, yet again, at the time it was like themes of like redlining, things about identity, things about gentrification, all these themes that were in my head that I wanted to display and show in my art. And I was like, I want to show this stuff first. I don't know how to use a camera, I don't know how to make this work, how to make this make sense, but I know the themes and the ideas that I want to tackle. And then when you have those ideas that are so strong and so poignant, and you make it, it just kind of starts to make sense. I realized I was like, okay, I'm not half bad at this shit. And that's where I started taking inspirations from different people. I started learning more and more about different photographers that were kind of in the lane of I was trying to go for. And then I started taking classes at SMC like around, I want to say like late 2022. And that's when I really started to take off, because at that point, my skill level had started to meet like my ideas. And then sadly, there was a certain point where like I ran out of ideas. So my skill level was like all the way up here, and then my ideas were like at a plateau where it had switched. And that's low-key what happened sometime. Got to a point in photography where I was focused way too much on like the technical point and like the skill point. I love most of the photos I took last year. Like, they are beautiful visually, but they're not idea based. And I love my older stuff, because even though I didn't know what the fuck, how to use a camera, what an ISO was, what an aperture was, none of that shit, I had ideas and I wanted to show them. And I feel like I'm starting to get back to that place again the last few months, where everything I make is idea based, but now I have the technical ability to match it. And I think that's really important. When you get to that point where your ideas and your technical ability are like one and the same, like that's really important. That's really what's up. And then with music, you know, I think that was more of like something that I really wanted to get into, just because like I was just very passionate about music. I'm not even gonna lie, the person that got me really into music is fucking Lance. I remember in middle school, like I'd be in his fucking room and this kid with his like millions of fucking records would just be showing me shit. He'd be showing me some prog rock, some psychedelic rock, some funk, jazz, like shit that I don't even know existed. The most obscure shit like ever. Being in his fucking room in like 7th grade is what really made me go like, shit, music is kind of like crazy low-key. And I started like really like researching and learning more about artists. Like I really got like into like rap, R&B, jazz, prog rock, like literally every genre. People like ask me like, what like music are you interested in? I'm like, I don't want to fucking sound pretentious, because I genuinely am like everything, I guess. If it's good, I fuck with it, you know? And yet again, it's just like my whole thing is like I love a lot of different things. I love melding those worlds together. The first project I ever did with Lance, like a lot of those songs, I didn't know how to fucking make music. I didn't know how to fucking write shit. It was the same thing with photography. I didn't know how to do this shit. I just had ideas, I had themes, and I had stories that I wanted to tell about myself, and I was able to tell them. That shit is horrible, and it will never see the light of day. But I needed to get that out somehow. I needed to tell those stories somehow. And then I just started to realize, you know, while making stuff with Lance and making stuff with like my homie Jada, making stuff with like all these different people, my friend Timmy, just producing on the side, like I realized I'm literally like an ideas guy. I fuck with being able to like sit in the room and be like, I fuck with this, but like just do this differently, or being able to just get on the DAW and like completely like change the mix of something, or completely change the setting, or like completely like chop up a whole section of a song completely different, and showing that to the artist and them like being like, damn, that's actually kind of fire, you know. I think like I love music, and I love like being able to like pitch in different ideas from different places to different people. And then like when it comes to like producing for different artists to arm myself, like again, like I just love hearing their ideas and their soul, and kind of like figuring out, okay, how can I bring their vision to light? How can I bring their artistic ideas musically? Because, you know, sometimes, yet again, with musicians, like, they're super technical sometimes. They're only thinking about, like, how does this one microscopic thing, and I'm like that too, but most people are like, how does this one microscopic part of the song sound? And then they forget about, like, you know, bridge, song structure, transitions, like, how are you gonna mix this to make it sound maybe a little more funky, maybe a little more aggressive? Like, how are you gonna really bring that shit out? And I feel like that's something that I really learned while working with like all these different artists, was like, okay, how can I get you out of your head and bring out what you're really thinking within your music? Because sometimes that shit is hard. Sometimes it's hard to like get out of your own head of like what you're hearing and bring that out onto the DAW and onto the mix and onto the recording. Producing music is like not even that different from like making photography or like filmmaking, because, you know, like everything I do, like it's all ideas based first. It's all like, how can I tell these stories and these themes and really bring them to light first? And again, it's about that interdisciplinary stuff where it's like, if you can tell these different stories and these different themes through different mediums, but it all makes sense, it's all cohesive. Even if they're separate pieces, if someone can see your shit and be like, okay, this person knows what the fuck they're doing, this person knows exactly what they're making and how they're making it and why they're making it and how these all connect. Like, that's what's important. That's what's like, I think is really powerful. But what interests me, like, when it comes to like the cultural aspect of art, living in LA, and like yet again, like back to that shit of like, you know, I grew up in South Central. I like lived around Inglewood, West Athens, Leimert Park. Those are like my areas my entire life growing up, you know. But also like going to school and having friends from all over. Like, shit, I could show you my Find My on my phone right now. I got friends that live in Alhambra. I got friends that live in Altadena, Sherman Oaks, Long Beach, fucking Compton, everywhere, Culver City. Like, I can keep going, like everywhere. I have so many perspectives about this city. I have so many different like memories and joys about this city and about about the different cultures in this city. You know, I've put my little like 2 cents in my pot into like every single aspect of the city, and I love every part of it. I love every aspect of it. And I think, like, you know, when it comes to cultural shit, man, like, I just want to make shit that, like, harkens to that, like, beautiful, multiple cultures that this city has. I feel like people, like, always fucking on some weird shit, always try to be like, oh, like, this area is not really LA, but this area really is LA. Oh, but this is only what LA is. Oh, but you're not from LA if you're from here. You're not from LA if you're from over here. We're all from fucking LA. It's just different parts that are, like, literally, like, purposely redlined and sectioned off, you know, throughout decades of fucking systemic racism and oppression and all that shit. And I think it's just really important culturally, you know, with my art, and also, you know, when I try to like make shit for other people, to really bring out those different cultures and show that they're all fucking separate, but they're all fucking LA culture. It's all fucking valid, it's all real. They're all stories, there's all history and all of that shit. Every fucking, from the valley all the way to fucking Long Beach, like, that's all fucking culturally relevant. And like, you know, with the magazine Bedlam and with like everything I do, like I really, you know, long term, like really want to delve into like what makes this city and this county like so fucking beautiful culturally and artistically. There's so much talent that gets overlooked, and there's so much like pigeonholing, you know. I mean, like, as like a black queer artist, like, god fucking damn, it's been so hard to break into Black queer spaces, which you think would be like easy, but like it's like somehow like impossible as a Black queer artist to break into Black queer art spaces, because for some reason it's like such an exclusive club. And I'm like, fuck, like I don't want it to be like this. It shouldn't be like this for artists. It shouldn't be like this for people of color, for queer people, to like break into spaces where they should be naturally at home. I hate fucking going to East LA and feeling like I'm like not part of that fucking culture either. When I fucking went to school here for like 6 years, all my fucking friends live over here. I've had fucking people get fucking moved out and gentrified, you know, out of their fucking homes from over here. Like, I love that area too, and I hate going over there and feeling like an outsider, feeling like I don't belong here because of whatever, some weird shit, some racist shit, some like pigeonholing shit yet again. And then even going to like the west side where I don't really even fuck with them like that because they're all white. But like even then, I'm like, fuck, I hate not feeling like I'm at home. I hate not feeling like there's some weird shit going on, or feeling like I'm tokenized over there because it's like a bunch of fucking white people that love to fucking culture vulture and love to fucking, they're not even from LA, and they love to take and take and take and give nothing back. And I just hate that shit. I don't love that shit. It's horrible. I hate it. And I just like, I really want to like root out culturally like the real shit through my art and through other people's art and showcasing other people's art. There's some beautiful fucking people out here. There's some beautiful artists out here that are actually from LA, that aren't a bunch of fucking influencers, actually make good shit, and that are not in like taken seriously, are not taken like as if they're real artists, are taken for granted for whatever reason, an Instagram account or like whatever the fuck. Like it's just some weird cultural shit that I don't fuck with, and like there needs to be like a real shift, and that like culturally for me is like what I want to change. And that brings me like to like my last question, which what I want to do and where I see me in the next 5 years. I'm going to Chicago right now for school. I was telling my friend Naheem and Dylan a few days ago, like I'm gonna only be gone for 2 years, and while I'm gone, like my goal is to fucking bring everything I've learned and bring back something new to the city, and being able to like put everybody on. You know, I'm going to school over there for photography and mixed media art, of course, but I'm also going to school for art administration and curating. And like my goal in like 5 years is to have my own gallery space, to have my own studio, to like be able to have like the magazine up and running, my own art collective, really put people on, really put real LA artists, real people who make shit passionately from the heart and like are actually real artists, not a bunch of influencers, not a bunch of transplants, like real people. That's my goal when I come back in the next 2 years, like once I'm done with college, like come back and like give everything that I learned from outside of the city back into the city, pour my love back into the city, pour my love back into the people I love and the art that these people make, you know? And that includes my art. Like I really want my art to be more specific, more culturally specific, more, less broad and more like specific on what I love, and that's the city, that's these people, you know? And that's it. That's Ether Decor. Thanks for talking to me.